I want to bring our friend Michael in, and I'll get Lori's mic open as well. But Michael, excuse me, welcome back, and I'm looking forward to hearing your episodes of The Road. And I humbly curtsy and bow before you and say thank you for standing in the truth of truths to the absolute outcome of the fact that you're now sitting at this table, having left a system in the dust. How are you feeling, my friend?
Oh my gosh! How do you describe it? Thank you, all you beautiful people at Emerald Table. And Michael. Yes.
Your Skype is really, really sketchy. Did you want to hang up and call back in to see if it's breaking up really bad? And if that doesn't work, is it possible for you to call in from a landline? So let's try your Skype. Hang your Skype up and then call right back in. I'll wait for you. And we'll get you back on. I want to make sure because I want to hear every drop, every word. Now, for those, I'd love to be able to bring them into the call with me, but what's been happening lately, it happened, I guess, started probably about 2-3 months ago, that Blog Talk no longer makes it easy or possible for me to bring people in without my call going into a state of disarray. So I can't bring people into the call with me. And just for the record, so people know, that Michael's son has had his $5,000 bond reimbursed, given back, which is unheard of in the game. So that was already an indicator that the dam was breached and that there was no finger going to plug that little hole. and then it went on from there. So that's why I'm looking forward to hearing the complete breakdown of the system around Michael Day, because I knew he would never yield the legal name. Perhaps maybe Santo Bonacci can have a word with Michael to find out how it's really done, where you stand your ground and you don't yield like some pussy, because your name means more to you than anything else. 301. I'm not sure what area codes. If I open up the mics and it's you, Michael, if you're calling from a landline, that is you there on 301, yeah?
Yes, that's me, Michael in Maryland.
There you go, much
clearer.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I can hear you clear as a whistle. So, Michael, superstar of the universe, star of your movie, you are shining brightly. So, Jesus, Lord Thundering, we just lost him again.
What's going on?
Okay. I don't know. Why don't you guys tell me what's going on? Because I know what's going on.
Superhero. Kate, you know what's going on? He's in this court, right? I just know, and you know too. You know, is that the Babylon's fallen, throwing that document out.
Like Michael said, he's been having a hell of a time getting through to anyone. So, and all that is an indication of the kind of power that he's pushing out there, and the system doing everything in its power to silence him further. But it ain't going to happen, because we got this table, and nothing stops this bulldozer. It's universe-wide, and it's just pushing all the shit out of its way. Okay, so just waiting to see if I can get Michael in here and see if he's texting me on... There he is. Okay. All right, so here we go. Michael, let's try this one more time. And in case you didn't hear me, great big shout-out to Kathy and the family, and well done for standing alongside with you, and let's hear it.
Okay. Sorry about the phones. I've switched 2 phones now and tried Skype, and I think we may have a storm moving in the area. Hey,
no worries.
Thank you for...
Yeah, go on, Michael. I can hear you loud and clear. Oh, I just lost you again. Anybody need any more proof that Mike's out? This is all the proof I need. So, I wish there was a way. Let me just see if I had... okay, if he calls in again, I lose him. I may be able to call him in through the landline here, because I've got a bit of Skype credit, to see if that might work as well. But, again, if it's a bad connection on his end, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. And there is definitely a storm moving in, and we're it. So lots of wonderful, we got lots of M flares happening around as well. As I was saying earlier, we have people within the prison system refusing to work now. Not that they're getting paid for anything. That's what slave labor is all about. So there is an uprising by sitting down in the prisons, And that's exactly what needs to happen. So flow the light and love there, so these people that are being held against their will, incarcerated illegally, unlawfully, in all manner of ways, those doors go swinging open in the same way they swung open for Mike. Now, mind you, the real criminals, well, so can't help you. You've got a penance to take care of and something to sort out within yourself. And there's nothing that anyone can do for you except you. So stay your course. Come to terms with that which you would never do again. And we're all equal here. We all have the ability to do that and move on from there. Now we got Michael back. So he just got out today from his little fun time standing in the truth. So let's start comparing some real serious notes tonight, guys, because we got win after win coming here. So, Michael, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Yes, you said thank you to Kathy and the family, and I want to thank you for that, because I tell you, this woman, I can't say she agrees with me on everything. She, doesn't understand everything, but what she does, she supports me 100%, unconditional love, and it just shows everywhere to everyone. And I tell you, I want to say I couldn't do it without her. I'm not sure that's true, but I mean, she sure makes it a lot better. It's wow. But you mentioned earlier about prisoners. She says she agrees 98%. But you mentioned about the prisoners and the awakening, and I've got to tell you, what I saw in the prison, I was flabbergasted with how many people were awake to some of this and listening and learning and growing and thinking this way. I mean, it blew me away. But so many of them listened to me. I sat for about 3 hours this morning in chains in a holding cell, maybe a little longer than that, talking to 3 or 4 guys, and saw some of them awaken. And one of them was already pretty awake, and we were having a good time. But they started out being real skeptical, and then as it went on, they started seeing the light. So it was pretty amazing. But yeah, what happened in court this morning? You can hear me okay? Everything good?
Loud and clear, Mike. I've got my mic muted. I'm sitting with bated spiritual breath, so carry on. What I might end up doing is muting. I'm going to mute everybody else out in case there's any interfere. So, guys, bear with me for a second here. So I do hear some hits. It might be on Mike's line, but let's try to minimize this as much as possible. And then we'll get everybody involved with the chit-chat. So just one sec. Yeah, that sounds a bit quiet. It was might have been on your line, Lori, so just letting you know that. Yeah, Michael, hear you loud and clear. And, yeah, 98% better than 50, So a big a curtsy for Kathy and the boys and the rest of the family. And well done. And, Michael, the blessing of unconditional love from someone that may not fully agree with what you're doing, but will stand with you regardless because of that unconditional love, is something that is beyond priceless. So you make sure you carry that message to Kathy for me with the ultimate of universal gratitude for being that strong. I could only wish that my partner was 1% of 1% of that strong. So thank you.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and I'm telling you, it is unbelievable. It just, the feeling that it gives you to know that somebody cares that much, wow. And not only for me, but she expressed that to other people through this, and was a help and a blessing to many of the people in the prison in many different ways. And I'll share some of that at a later date. But wow, what a fantastic feeling this morning. I mean, I was prepared for, well, I didn't know what to prepare for. I was ready, for whatever would come. I tried to prepare my best to be ready to say what I wanted to say, and lo and behold, I walk in there, and here's about, I want to say about 9 of my family sitting on the front row with big old smiles, and a little bit of trepidation because they've been sitting there for 4 hours, I think, most of the time they called me in. But it was just unreal. I know I have asked for everyone, the only thing that I've asked for in this was for people to send love and nothing but unconditional love. And, I can't speak to what anybody has sent, but the energies has just been unbelievable. And this morning, walking into that court, it was a totally different situation and something I could not have prepared for. It's like the judge was like an old friend. He treated me like an old friend. He talked to me. He didn't address me as anything. He asked me, how do you want to be addressed? And I said, well, I am the witness. And I started to say more, and he said, okay, we'll call you the witness. And then at some point, he asked me to sit down, and so I sat down, and I could tell that the tone was totally different than what had happened in the past. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to roll with this and see what happens. I'll kind of Steve. I'd been talking to Steve last night, Steve Mann, and he's been telling me just get centered, just stay calm and breathe. Remember, it's just you, and there's nothing to be afraid of. And I've known that. And by the way, I got to say, people, the love that's been poured out and shared and sent and passed through has strengthened me. I mean, wow. I wonder what I could do at this point. It's like I feel not invincible, but I feel that there is just an overwhelming sense of being able to take on anything. And
yeah, isn't it fun?
It's great. It's just wow. It's like I've been saying in prison, I've been having some great conversations. I've got this one guy that, oh my goodness, have we been building each other, sharpening, like I guess in the allegorical way the Bible says it, iron sharpeneth iron. And this guy challenges me, but I've been built tremendously, but it's like I kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and I could feel it. It's like I recognize fully that acronym of fear being false evidence appearing real is really the truth, and I can explain that to people in detail, and because I feel it, I can sense it, I know that it's true. And anyway, this morning, just unbelievable, and it's like I don't know what hit me, but I'm not even sure exactly what happened, but it was a comedy of errors for all of us that were watching, including me and my family. It's like the prosecutor the judge was asking questions, and the prosecutor was like, I'm not, I don't have, and I thought we were here for a competency hearing, and he was just all over the place. And by the way, he looks like the guy that's on TV that hawks those books with the question marks all over his suit. He had on a white suit, and he's a tall, thin guy, and it looks like something out of either Miami Vice or off the TV. It was hilarious. Then
the Riddler?
The judge asked then the judge asked the clerk, and the clerk was, well, let me see, maybe I can pull that up. I'm not sure. And the judge was looking through his papers. So it was like the three of them. It was like the Three Stooges. And the funny thing was, every question the judge asked, I could have answered, but I thought, no, let's just watch this. It was like watching the Three Stooges falling all over themselves. I mean, seriously, it was hilarious. But he was keeping his cool, and he was seemingly in a good mood. It apparently, I mean, there's an undercurrent here that I have not been able to determine yet. But when I got up this morning, they woke me up, for breakfast this morning, and then the sergeant came, and as I was in the breakfast line or turning my plate, he said, so you're getting out today. Now, that was really strange, and it could have been like he was saying, so you think you're getting out today? But it didn't sound like that. It sounded more like he knew something. Well, then the second thing that happened, they put us in chains, take us over there, and then when we get there, and after this is over, they said, well, we've got your clothes right here. And I looked at him and I said, wait a minute, do you always bring everyone's clothes over? And he said, no. And they wouldn't explain any further, but I'm thinking, it's like, how, well, we talk at the prison, and I know we've talked here, but it's like the judge and the prosecutor and the
that's unheard of.
District attorney,
that's
they all in on it.
Hey, Michael, that's unheard of, and I want to jump on that for a second, because if the clothes were sent over with you, it was already a foregone conclusion that you were going to be set free. That is a fact. They do not send the clothes with you unless you're going to be set free. So,
Well, that was what was blowing me away. It's like I didn't even get to I was like, I'm sitting here, I've done all this preparing, right? I didn't even really get to say a whole lot. Now, he did ask me what was my position, so I explained it in pretty as clear terms as I could. Kathy, gave me a big okay sign, but it was like I didn't, all this big build up for, and then they just, okay, you're free to go. And it's like, so yes, it's all the love, it's all the energy that's been sent, it's all the, and I cannot thank the people at the Emerald Table enough. It's like, it's so beautiful.
And Mike?
The ones that are, yes.
Mike, I want to share something with you that you may not be fully aware of yet. You just entered the realms of the untouchable, never to be touched again. Did you know that?
I believe it.
You don't need to believe
yes,
it.
Yes, I know it. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, because you see, this is where the spiritual referees kick in, and this is how you become an untouchable, and it's as simple as saying, I'm not the legal name. I'm not going to play your game with you, because I know that if you try to play this game with me,
yes.
you are the one now committing fraud where it is not my wish to do so. And
yes, and that was what I was so ready to say, and didn't get to say it, and it was yes.
You didn't have
to,
Michael,
right.
Because your stance
yes.
already said that. This was an attempt to try to break you. This was your crucifixion, and
yes.
we talked before you went into court that day, and you were hell bent to walk this path. And I
yes.
talked about you on both sides of it. You don't have to go, but if you want to, this is your road to walk. This is your personal episode that you're going to walk through. And I knew, Michael, I knew that regardless of getting grabbed and held and all the rest of it, that at the end of the day, that we were going to be having this conversation where you are on the other side, outside of Babylon, never to be touched or attempted to be contracted with again. That is the most powerful place to be, and that's the benevolence of responsibility. And you took the responsibility. Now guess what you get? You get given responsibility now. Cool, huh?
Well, it is so cool. I'm telling you, I felt this. I did feel this in prison building up to this. And it's like everything that I saw coming is what's happened. It's like I knew beyond any shadow of a doubt that what they were doing with the competency hearing was the threat to get me to break. First before that was the putting me, revoking the bail, putting me in there without bond, competency, commitment pending hearing, and, for the 30 days, and then having one lady come and spend 30 minutes with me, and trust me, I unloaded. I know, I don't have to say anything, right, to this lady. I unloaded on her. I mean, I gave her both barrels right down the pipe, and I told her everything because I said, I know what she's going to do. She's going to find me incompetent regardless. So I said, I'm going to plant every seed I can plant. So I dumped it. And then when Sean, the supposed one they had assigned to me, public defender, which I had not accepted, and I made it plain all the way through this. That was a comedy of errors in itself, but it was beautiful the way it played out. Sean comes and says, we have some bad news. I said, Sean, first of all, there's no bad news. Then he said, you've been found incompetent and possible danger to society. And I said, surprise, surprise. And he said, he laughed, he chuckled because he knew where I was at. I'd already explained that to him when I told him I didn't want him for a public defender. I didn't need anybody. And then he said, but the good news is we can hire somebody to find you competent. And I said, oh, and I played right along with him. I said, okay. I said, how much will that cost? He said, they charge about $2,100. And I said, well, Sean, that's wonderful. I said, if you're willing to do that for me, I said, that would be fantastic. He said, whoa, hold on a minute. And I knew, he said, no, you have to hire us as your attorneys. And I just raised my palms and looked at him with a big grin. And I said, you see, Sean? And he said, oh, yeah, I do see what's happening here. And he actually did get it. And by the way, he came today to be a witness. Now, I didn't need him, and he didn't do that, but he was instrumental today in one way, and it was really funny because it was almost like it was set up. He interrupted the judge.
It was, Michael, it wasn't almost. Remember, everything's perfect. The play will play out perfectly. Just put the eyes on. this Sean individual came in because the system has to keep itself in honor.
Yeah. Well, but I'm saying, yes, you're absolutely right, and it's like they planned it out. So
of course they did.
Oh my! It is so clear. One thing is absolutely and perfectly clear, and that was they were not about to have me come and speak at court in a trial. That wasn't going to happen no matter what. So, they had to go through this little charade, and it's so surreal to be a half hour later or so, sitting at a table with my family around me and thinking, wait a minute, what just happened? They're going to send me off up, for however many years for, incompetent and a possible danger to society, and all of a sudden, oh, okay, you're free to go. Yeah, of course it was all threat to scare you, right? And boy,
it's all bluff.
I'm telling you.
It's not threat.
Yes,
it is bluff.
Yes.
It is all pure bluff. Don't buy it. They're sitting there with a pair of deuces maximum to your royal flush.
Absolutely. And boy, is that a good feeling. I mean, the judge even tried one time, you're representing yourself? No, I am here present. And he says, so he comes back with, well, as far as we're concerned, you're representing yourself. And I just smiled. I didn't say any more at that point. But yeah, it's like I got to say it. It's like, no, I'm here present. I was ready if he couldn't, if he said any more. Can you not hear me? I went through that several times at the prison with some guys. I was like, we laughed out loud because they were amazed that I was talking so lightly of authority, quote unquote, because they're all, wanting to kiss ass to, get out quicker, or to not, not be on there, not.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah. Get their,
do you want to?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to know the real magic that you just pulled off today? The simple fact that you didn't go back, and you've got a lot of people back at the prison or wherever it was you were at, suddenly realizing that you're not there, and what happened. So now everything that you have been telling them just got verified as absolute truth, and not only did you plant the seeds, but you gave them buckets of water, truth, to go with it. So the repercussions of what happened today with you, I mean, they're already very evident here at this table because the excitement is palpable here. But can you imagine now the excitement that is palpable with behind those walls with all of those individuals that you spent the time and care with to speak to, and all of a sudden you're not there. All of a sudden, guess what, Michael? You're absolutely right. Now they're going to go,
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have their aha moment. So how would you feel about me opening up the lines to get other people to get involved and ask some questions, and I'll sit back a little bit and let this roll. So I'm going to open up all the mics for everybody. Remember, guys, I know it's exciting, it's all fun, it's beautiful. This is exactly the superstar that I wanted to see in Michael. In my movie, it's beautiful. You just see this scene. It's awesome from where I'm sitting. But just be mindful of jumping on top of everybody and on top of each other. So just take your time. And if you got a question or you want to share something with Michael, please, I want to hear from you. And so I know Michael does too. So just be mindful. And, who wants to jump in first and say welcome home again to Michael? He was already home. It just a little misplaced is all. So who wants to jump in first here?
Yeah, so they just released you, huh? They just said, okay, you can go.
Yeah, essentially they said, they dropped all the criminal charges. I think this was hilarious, Richie, I got to tell you. They dropped the criminal charges and everything associated with that, which was the first batch. And then they had some payables, and they held the payables. But the judge sat right there at his desk, at his play acting desk, right, on the ship there. He said, well, we'll keep the payables. We're not going to let those go, but I don't imagine Mr. McLean, or whatever he calls himself, is going to be taking care of that or worried about it or showing up for that. He was chuckling while he said that. So that was funny. I had a big eating grin on my face, right?
Yay!
He knows. He knows you know. So let's
talk about a slam dunk.
Oh yeah, all net. All net. Hey, you know what? The other thing that this backwards ass thinking is, right? They find you incompetent to represent yourself, but yet you're incompetent enough to hire your own attorney. So how does that work out?
A quick update. Now, I just want to verify this because we did hear that the bond that your son had put up was given back to him, so it was all completely refunded. Yes.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
There we go.
Except for the $200 charge that they charged him for the credit card to make the payment. That was unreal. But anyway, yeah, it's all good. He got his $5,000 back. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. As soon as they did that, Michael, I knew they were beginning to buckle. So that I had, as you call it, one of those shit-eating grins on my face as soon as I heard that. I said, oh, there it begins. It's starting to fall apart now. And all you had to do was stay the course. And you did. Look at your flagship. I see all your banners from here, man. And what a glorious ship you are sailing. Sail on.
And mine do not have the fringes on them either, brother. I'm flying my own flag. No fringes on this flag.
Beautiful. Now, I got to tell you, isn't it a glorious feeling to be on the other side going, told you.
Oh. Well, it is, and yet, it's funny because I developed such a relationship with some of those guys. I was almost sorry to have that end. But, however, I did put some money on my phone today and I had given 2 or 3 of them numbers to my number to call me collect. And so I will be sharing some of this back into there. And I got to say, my one friend, Mark, the one that has been the one that was really sharpening me like iron. I mean, this guy was unbelievable. I got to share more about him later another time. But he said to me, he said, I wish I could be a fly on the wall of that courtroom today. Because he knew I was ready. And he said so many times, he said, if you do this thing, he says, if you carry this through, he says, you are going to make a change. And this is coming from somebody that at first when we met, he was practicing or trying to be a devout Christian. And he was struggling with that, but we talked, and he listened to my story, and he said, you are in rebellion. And coming from him, after I'd already met him and learned what he was, I said, I really did a double take, because I was taking it as that maybe it's my ego. And I searched, and that was the one thing that I was trying to check so hard before I went in, was that it wasn't about ego. And so I did another double take, but eventually, in talking to him, he came back around, and then he said, what I said before, though, still stands. He said, if you do this thing, he said, this will change everything for everyone in some way.
Michael,
yeah.
I'm gonna ask people at the board right now, what did I say on many occasions? That with Michael doing this, it's going to change the entire system from within. Did I say that a couple of times or more?
Oh yeah. We talked about you a lot. Every victory is another rise up that ladder.
But Michael, you scored the victory within, not without. The without was already a foregone conclusion. Right. Now we got some noise in the background, guys. So mute up the mics on your end, please, if you're not talking.
Yeah, that's me, Kate. Let me just say this real quick. I'll mute out. I can't stop the rain coming in my cab right now.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I remember distinctly when Michael said, I do this for all. Excuse me. He said, I do this for all of us. I distinctly remember him saying that. And
I heard it too.
I recall he told me the other day on the phone, he said, you can put me in prison for the rest of my life.
Couldn't agree more, Carl. Well put, my friend. Absolutely, and that was exactly the conversation Michael and I were having. I knew that Michael wasn't doing this just for himself or for any ego reasons, and I find it quite not even ironic, but the fact you mentioned that your friend inside was, following the Christian motif, and all you were doing, Michael, was showing exactly what Christ was doing in the first place. Christ was, in the allegory, is the rebel of rebels. And that's why I look to that character in that role of saying, yeah, let's turn the tables in the temples. Let's take this nonsense and destroy it because it's destroying humanity. And that's exactly what you were doing. You weren't, where you have others worshiping Christ, the complete opposite of what should be doing. You were being role model of what, why call me Lord and not do the things I do? And well, lo and behold, there's Michael doing the things that he said to do. And what happens is we have this, and you have absolutely, and again, this is not blowing sunshine, guys. This is just statement of truth, statement of fact. The difference and the shift that Michael has caused and created within the system, with all of the people that came into contact with him, he did exactly what I was hoping Santo Bonacci would do. So it was done by Michael. And who else but Michael to do this?
That's what you said, Kate. You said that. Kate, I have to tell you something because it's anagogic, and I've been trying to get a hold of you, and I need kind of like clarity of the anagogic reasons for this. But in London in the past 3 days, specifically in the city of London. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, everybody. Hi. In the city of London, apparently, on the certain, like, parliament and certain buildings of government, like at the meeting war rooms, if anybody's in London, you can go down and verify it yourself. There are blood splatters on the sides of walls. And some people are speculating on whether that's some sort of like a Passover thing, but it doesn't make sense. What would be the anagogic reason for governmental leaders maybe? Does this make sense? I mean, people are...
They're blood-stained. The anagogic of this are the buildings that are of, like you were saying, most likely in the City of London state proper, any of the government military buildings, whatever, that is the anagogic of they are blood-stained. They have blood on their hands, and it is now starting to show in the physical, and that's the only way I would see that anagogic playing out.